What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the PLL weekly recap. Today we are going to be going over week 11 game 3 chaos versus the Cannons. I'm your host Thief Strings, and I cannot wait to get into these games today. It is already the very last week of the regular season, and I cannot believe how fast the season went by. The PLL seasons always feel like they go by really quick, but I can't believe that it's already playoff time. This week the PLL is playing all their games in Utah, Zions Bank Stadium, the same place where they held their bubble a few years ago. Interestingly, for the last week of the season, you would think that there would be a lot on the line here, but pretty much all of the playoff spots are locked in already. All of the teams that are eliminated have already been decided before this week even started. Some of these results will be important in terms of playoff seeding, but all the teams who are going to be in the playoffs, they've already locked in their spots. Even so, these teams and players have so much pride. I'm sure they're not going to be taking it easy this week. Looking at the Carolina Chaos, they've been pretty inconsistent all season on the offensive end of things. We know how good their defense is. They have been dealing with some injuries, but they really need to lock it in and finally figure it out on offense if they want some hope of going deep into these playoffs. A win here could give them some really great momentum going into the postseason. Thankfully for them, Josh Byrne is back, which is some really great news that will surely support that idea I was just talking about them getting more consistent on offense. On the other side of the face-off X, the Cannons have been looking really good as of late, especially now that they have Pat Kavanagh back healthy. Their offense is one of my favorite to watch in the league. They have amazing passing. They're really fluid, really an unselfish team, and I think that their pieces fit together perfectly. The Cannons still have the option of bringing in Will Manny onto the roster, but even though they signed him, they still haven't played him and probably won't, which I kind of understand because where would he even go? You've got Pat Kavanagh, Asher Nolting, and Marcus Holman all out attack. I don't know which of those three guys you would bump out of the lineup to make room for Will Manny. Speaking of Pat Kavanagh, something tells me he's going to have a bit of an impact this game. I'm looking for a strong performance from him. This game is taking place at night under the lights, which I think is a great vibe for lacrosse. Of course, I love the sunny summer games, but something about playing under the lights makes it feel so much more legit. And I really don't have too many pregame notes for this one. We know what these two teams have in store for us. We know what their play styles are, who their big impact players are. I do expect this one to get very physical and very competitive. I feel like whichever team is more willing to put their body on the line for the win is going to walk away with a W on this one. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into the highlights and see if my predictions come true. So first clip of the game comes to us from Jared Newman. After this shot came out of his stick, it did look pretty lame considering especially who shot that. Jared Newman can shoot 117, but you'll see it did get blocked. And if you wanted to see some evidence that Jared Newman had some absolute heat on any of his shots besides just the shot speed gun, you can see in this clip here, it gets blocked, but he still hit this thing with so much velocity that his stick just breaks in half. I can't think of a worse way to start a game than snapping your stick. I actually don't know if he even actually broke the shaft because it looks like it's pretty intact. Did he just forget to screw in his head? Hey, things happen. In this next clip, we see the matchup between Asher Nolting and Jack Rowlett, which is one of the biggest reasons I was excited to watch this game. Jack Rowlett is really physical. He makes sure his attackman feels the pain whenever he gets the chance, and Asher Nolting, of course, is a big body who's almost impossible to move, and you can see that in this clip. Rowlett is playing him real physical, but it doesn't matter. Asher's huge. Blaze Riorden actually even comes out of his net to slide to Asher. That is a lot of mass meeting right at GLE, and I don't know why Asher didn't just put this in his one hand and try and wrap this into the net. He was probably just shocked that Blaze Riorden actually came out of his net to slide to him. The goalie slid to him. That's how much attention Asher draws. And even the combined effort of Rowlett and Blaze couldn't move Nolting. So Nolting couldn't score on that play where he was basically getting double teamed by the defender and the goalie. Then on this next play, he's left wide open. Like seriously, no one even looks at him to pick him up. And yeah, of course, any PLL attackman in this league is going to put that thing away if there's no one on him right in front of the crease. Blaze actually does get a pretty big piece of this, but I mean, come on, you're leaving an all-star that open. Of course, they're going to put it in the net. We get to witness some more history on this play here where Marcus Holman just picks up the garbage in front of the net. Great instincts to weasel his way in here, get the ground ball and stick it in the goal. But now that moves Holman up to 6th place all time in goals scored. Earlier season, he moved up to 7th place. Now he just keeps climbing that ladder. It will get a bit tougher for him to go from 6th to 5th to 4th because there is a pretty wide gap between where he is right now on the all-time leaderboards to 1st place or anywhere in between that. But still, you got to appreciate greatness in action, witnessing history. The commentator Paul Carcaterra also keeps nagging about the fact that Pat Kavanagh is playing midfield while Matt Campbell is playing attack, whereas naturally their positions are the exact opposite. Obviously, Pat Kavanagh's an attackman, Matt Campbell's a midi, and I have to agree with him. He talked about this like 6 or 7 times just in the first quarter, which kind of got annoying, but he's right. I can't see any reason why the Cannons coach would make this decision. Both of them are so much better in the opposite positions. Just flip them, man. They fit perfectly. All right, strap yourselves in because this next clip has so much going on. We revisit this Asher Nolting Jack Rowlett matchup. As always, Jack Rowlett is playing pretty physical against Nolting. Actually lifts him up off his feet for a second. Nolting gets doubled. He spins away, runs away, keeps his eyes up, finds his man who soccer touched it with his chest, gets a shot, and Rowlett comes and snaps his stick over this dude's head. I am not exaggerating. He quite literally broke his metal long pole right over bro's face. I told you there was a lot going on there. I gotta watch that one again. All right, so we see Rowlett playing the big defense. That's kind of impressive considering who he's guarding. Nolting then with an equally impressive play, able to avoid the pressure and pick out a good pass. The find was good. The pass could have been better. Vidaro does his best Premier League soccer impression, controlling it with using his chest, but he just takes slightly too long. Rowlett slides all the way from the top of the 2-point arc all the way back to Verardo, and he is honestly so lucky that Rowlett's shaft snapped on this check. It's a high hit. It's a late hit. It's a cross check too. He didn't have his hands together, and oh my god, all I can think about is what if that shaft did not snap? Vidaro would have been in a whole lot more pain. That actually would have been really bad if his shaft didn't snap. Thank god that it did. That hit from Rowlett ended up being a 2-minute unreleasable penalty, which is obviously a huge boost for the Cannons. And hey, I told you guys this one was gonna get physical. We've got 2 broken sticks from each of the star Chaos defenders already, and really unfortunate news for the Chaos and honestly all of Lacrosse. Blaze has been getting beat up all season. He's been struggling with some little knocks and injuries that have kept him out a couple games, and on this play here, he takes a shot right to the kahunas. He took the shot to the kahunas. That is not the player you want to see get hurt right before the playoffs. Now, after the initial injury, the sideline reporter said that he would probably be back in the game, at least in the second half, but he never ended up coming back. So kind of scary for Blaze and the Chaos as a whole. I really need to see him back. And then another scary moment for a Chaos player. Marcus Holman takes a shot and it hits Jack Rowlett right in the side of the helmet. He goes down really awkwardly. At first, this looked really bad. I was holding my breath when I saw the way he went down and the way that he stayed down, the position he was in. Thankfully, he was able to walk off under his own power and did come back into the game for a little bit, but that is not what you want to see whatsoever if you're a Chaos fan. 2 of your best players in a couple minutes span going out with injuries. Like I said though, Rowlett did end up coming back into the game, and he must be feeling at least somewhat okay, because the first play that you saw him, he hits his signature over the head almost. Although he does connect with it, Nolting is just way too strong. Don't ask me how, but he keeps the ball in his stick on this play. It's not because of an illegal pocket, because Nolting actually uses a pretty shallow pocket, but just way too strong on that one. Doesn't matter if you're throwing fancy checks, he just bullies his way into the middle, hits a really clean golf celly, and because of that, the Cannons end up taking the lead going into halftime. Yeah, you can hit the cleanest check in the world, but if my man like Nolting is too strong, it's just gonna negate it. It doesn't even matter. So like I said, the Cannons are up by 1 goal heading into halftime. This has been a really good game so far. Very competitive, especially for the last week of the season, and obviously a close one as well. Not as physical as I predicted, but still definitely a physical one. Really hoping that Blaze can come back into the game in the second half. They said he would, but as we'll see in a moment, he doesn't start the second half either, and neither does Rowlett. Even though he played a little bit in the end of the second quarter like we just saw, he ends up staying on the bench for the second half. I hope he's okay, because obviously anything to head is very concerning, especially if it ends up keeping you out. I hope he's not concussed or anything like that. Once you start racking up injuries in a single week in this league, it gets kind of concerning, because they only carry 19 men on this roster, so they're only down to 17 guys, which literally only means they have 7 substitutes for the rest of this competition. Will we see the Chaos getting fatigued heading into the second half? Let's see how it plays out. Let's get right into the third quarter. So the Cannons go man up early in the half, and I'm only showing you this play where they hit the pipe here because that is already 5th shot that the Cannons have rung off the post. At this point in the game, they had as many times hitting the post as they had goals. A few minutes later, Garrett Eppel makes an uncharacteristic sloppy mistake for the Cannons. He does put in the extra effort to get the ground ball here, sprinting out towards the end line and goosing it back for his teammates, but he gooses it right into the middle of the field. That's a big no-no. The ball ends up bouncing around and finding its way into the stick of the new king of creativity, Kyle Jackson, who shows off why I gave him that title on this goal once again here. He backhands this one into the goalieless net. A real bang play here that the Chaos are able to capitalize on. Good for them for being aware of the situation and taking advantage of the opportunity that Garrett Eppel gave to them. I get what Garrett Eppel was going for, but you got to take care of the ball a lot better than that. And even though it was an open net, that was a hard finish. Kyle Jackson had 3 guys, including one of his teammates right on top of him blocking the angle, so he did do really well to sneak it through his legs. Nutmeg not block. block there. I actually didn't notice that until I was doing this video right now. A bit later, Kyle Jackson tries to get another creative goal, but this time God says absolutely not. This is hilarious. I don't think I've ever seen this before, ever. He goes to shoot it, goes for the crease dive. I don't know how to explain this. His stick gets he goes for like a toe drag or something, get the stick below his waist, but the stick ends up getting caught right into the ground, and he kind of pole vaults himself or impales him. I've seen this where a defender with a long pole tries to come down with a big check. The head of the stick goes into the ground, and then they impale themselves. But I've never seen a shorty do it while trying to take a crease dive or a shot. Good pass from Jules, but this one just looked absolutely hilarious. I can't lie. This shot from Cade Van Raphorst off the crossbar marks their 8th of the day off the post. Now, myself and Paul Carcaterra were questioning the decision to put Pat Kavanagh in midfield, but he shows you why it's okay to put him really anywhere on the field. I mean, dude is really versatile. He shakes and bakes for a nice split dodge, loses his man Geddes, and then finds a wide open Marcus Holman, who of course is stinging a corner on that one. You cannot leave Marcus Holman wide open like that. We saw the Chaos leave Asher Knowlton open on the crease earlier, who of course is going to put it away. And if you leave Marcus Holman open with any room at all, he's probably one of, if not the most accurate players in terms of shooting in the history of lacrosse. So yeah, that's automatic. Ultra accurate finish as always from Holman. Then on this play, another shot off the pipe that makes it 9 for the Cannons and a 3rd broken stick for the Chaos. I think every single one of their close defenders in this game broke their stick. This one again looked interesting because it didn't seem like the stick actually snapped. It just looks like the head popped off. Did someone just steal all the screws out of the long pole's sticks today? Because I don't know what's going on with that. Jerry Newman's head flew off. Now I couldn't tell who that was, but the other defender's head just flew off right there. Is someone sabotaging their equipment? Maybe. So this game has already had one thing that I've never seen before. That Kyle Jackson crease dive pole vault was something unique, that's for sure. And here's another goal that I have seen maybe one time in my entire life, and I don't even know if it was exactly like this, but as Lanian on this one, he drives in, gets under the defender, puts it in his left hand, eats a check, but actually in some way is able to use the momentum from the body that's hitting him to move his hands in a way to just kind of flick the ball past the head of the keeper. When I first saw this, I was wondering if this was even on purpose, if he actually just got body checked and the ball flew out and just happened to hit the net. But nah, he meant to do this. It's so strange. He completely uses the contact from Will Bowen. He kind of like keeps his hands in the same spot, honestly, but his body gets moved. So because his body's moving with his hands in the same place, it almost mimics like the shot motion. If you can kind of see what I'm saying. I don't really know how to describe this one. Super, super unique. I don't even think Will Bowen realized he shot the ball. That's crazy. It was like an over the shoulder shot almost too. Bizarre goal. Really great, but bizarre. Let me know, have you guys ever seen a goal quite like that one? So heading into crunch time, 4th quarter, the Cannons are leading the Chaos by 2 goals this time around, 8-6. We still have some stars on the bench for the Chaos. Blaze and Rowlett have still yet to come back into this game. Spoiler alert, but they don't end up coming back into this game. And I am wondering, since we did see a couple of big time injuries earlier in this match, how hard are these teams and their stars willing to play in the last quarter of the regular season, when at the end of the day, they're really not playing for much besides playoff seeding. And the result of this game really doesn't even have a big impact on that seeding. So they do have a lot of pride, but I do somewhat expect them to take it slightly easy. We'll see if they do. And that theory of mine is quickly proven false by Ross Scott. He makes an absolutely fearless play on this kind of crease dive running up from X. It's not really a crease dive, but he dives in front of the crease. He uses his speed to get a step on his defender, rolls around the backside of the cage, running up from X, and just dives with 3 men collapsing on him. Didn't look like he cared at all if he took a hit on this play. He just wanted the G, and he got rewarded for his fearlessness. Leaving your feet in a situation like that is so tough because you're just giving your body up. If someone wants to hit you and just end your career, hopefully they don't, but if they wanted to, they totally could. You're in a super vulnerable position when you do something like that. But scoring as he falls, well on his way to get the goal for his squad, a much needed one for the Chaos too. At this point, the Chaos are putting together a bit of a run. Right here, they're on a 3-goal run, including that one from Ross Scott. Josh Burns scores one of the most box lacrosse looking goals I've seen in the past couple weeks. Not too fancy of a move, just exploits the matchup, runs to his right, puts the stick in his right hand, gets under the body of his defender, and doesn't even really get away from him. Through contact, he's able to stick this one in the net. Yeah, nothing too fancy at all, just using his speed, using his body control. He doesn't even get free. His defender's on his hands pretty much, but puts it 5-hole on Curse. That makes it a 4-0 run for the Chaos right now. Much needed. Now, I said that last goal by Josh Byrne wasn't too fancy, but this one certainly was. He tries to drive left. He's got Bubba Fairman absolutely all over him. Spins away, runs away from the double, gets his hands free for a second, and an insane pass to Ian McKay. Josh Byrne has some huge cojones for throwing this pass because they kind of show the camera angle from behind him right here, and he's got to be out of his damn mind to throw that. There is no opening there. It looks like, I mean, I guess he's technically open, but the passing angle isn't open. You've got 2 defenders right there ready to pick it off. Byrne sneaks it in. That is a great look and great execution on that pass as well. I can't get over how good some of these guys are at passing, like him, Schreiber, and obviously some of the other better passers in the league. Some of the finds that they're able to pick out just blow my mind. Like, what makes you think the guy's open enough to even pass it? Just 30 seconds later, Boston has a power play, and Asher Nolting shows off his passing ability. He makes a beautiful skip pass of his own. On this occasion, he feeds Pat Kavanagh, who was completely wide open in front of the net. He quick sticks it between the goalie's legs. Looking at the replay, Asher does a great job of looking off his defender. I won't call it quite a no look, but he definitely makes the defense move with just a little bit of a head fake. Absolutely 0 time wasted by Pat Kavanagh on the finish. Nothing fancy on that one either, just really quick hands. That's Asher's 4th assist on the day. So, like I said, this one is tied up with only 1 minute left. Chaos have possession of the ball with an opportunity for a potential game winner. We heard when Andy Towers was mic'd up exactly what they were looking for on this play. They put the ball in the stick of the ultra dynamic Jules Henenberg. He's got it on the high arc. He dodges lefty, looks off his defender, makes a wonderful pass, but his attackman could not catch it. It will actually, let me take that back. It wasn't a perfect pass. It was a wonderful find, wonderful look off to kind of get the defense moving. Very similar to that Asher one that we just saw one highlight ago. But the pass wasn't as crisp, as perfect as it could have been, and they miss out on an opportunity to steal this game from Boston. Cannons could not end up scoring at the end of the quarter either, so this one becomes the 2nd game already this weekend to go to overtime. Heading into overtime, you would think that the Cannons have a bit of an advantage because their face-off man, Zach Tucci, is much better than Carolina's face-off guy. We saw it once earlier in the season where I believe it was against the Waterdogs. The Cannons won the face-off in overtime, and right off the face-off, walked down the field and Zach Tucci scores, ending the game. Will that happen again here today? Shockingly, that doesn't even come close to happening because Tucci actually loses the face-off. Well, not technically. He actually does win the face-off, but can't pick up the ground ball. Ryland's getting them the ultra important first possession of overtime. Kyle Jackson gets a really good look wrapping around from X. He just takes a slight second too long, and he gets obliterated by Bryce Young. High, a little bit late. The refs end up throwing a flag for that. Slightly soft call. It is overtime, but I get it. Not the worst call in the world. Chaos are a bit sloppy on the ensuing man up. They lose control of the ball. It gets swung on the ground. Goose to Josh Byrne. One-handed picks up with a great find to Jules. Jules gets inside, face dodge, jumps, but can't put it away. Even if he did, he stepped on the line of the crease. This is another kind of funny one where you rarely see a crease dive where the guy jumps as high as possible rather than jumping for distance. We've seen a lot of helter-skelter plays like this during the course of the game, so it would have been really fitting if it ended with that one. Great find from Josh Byrne, but once again, the pass could have been a little bit more on the money. If it was kind of a perfect pass right up high to his ear, I think Jules probably puts that away and ends it. Anyway, the Chaos still end up getting another opportunity to put this game away. They find Geddes right on the front of the crease on the doorstep, full angle, but he drops the pass. He goes for a quick stick, but just can't hold it. He was either way too excited to shoot that, or he heard the footsteps and got nervous. Either way, they don't convert. Chaos had, what, 2 or 3 fantastic opportunities in overtime to get the goal. They have no one to blame but themselves if they end up losing this. And even more wild scenes. There's a 4th Chaos defender with a broken stick. That's why the guy guarding Asher Nolting is just playing with his hands. Nolting is able to find Matt Campbell in his favorite spot right at the top of the 2-pointer. He takes a shot right off Couch's face. Jenner jumps on the ball and swats it into the net with the goalie outside the goal. He's literally able to just hockey goose it into the net. I have never ever seen an OT winner like that. I've seen a goal or 2. Obviously, that's very rare to see a shot. It's not a shot, but I guess that's what we call it. Very rare to see one of those actually end up in the net. Incredibly rare. I've never seen it. Incredibly rare to have that be your OT winner. Are you kidding me? What a way to win a game. And even more than that, what a way to lose a game. If I was the Chaos, I'd be pissed. You can see the broken head inside the middle of the crease, but Matt Campbell's shot disorients Cow after it hits right off his face. Drenner actually, I don't know if he meant to do this, but he kicks it. Hey, if you're a soccer fan, this is beautiful. He takes his first touch with his left foot into space and then dives dives to the ball. Austin Cow also dives, but Drenner's able to get there first and swat it into the net. It dribbles in slowly. What a heartbreaker. And interesting too, if that Chaos defender who doesn't have a stick in his hands right here has his 6-foot long pole, is he able to just reach out and get the GB there, preventing the goal? Who knows? Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Maybe you should have been using a metal shaft so it didn't break, or just screw in your head. Someone definitely stole all the screws out of the Chaos defender's heads, because 4 of them flew off this game. Well, I guess that one by Jack Rowlett was definitely his fault.
Underneath the defender, he bounces one.
Anyway, wow, what a game. That contest had a lot of things that I have never seen before. And I gotta say, if the Chaos did have Blaze, Riorden, and Jack Rowlett in that entire game, they probably end up walking away with a W here. Of course, when you're losing a 1-goal game, that's an incredibly tiny margin. But if they have 2 of their star defenders who can maybe just negate one of those, they would have ended up winning this. I really, really hope those 2 guys are back for the playoffs. It would suck to see any squad really going into the playoffs not at full strength. The Cannons in this one looked absolutely fantastic. Their offense is so fluid. They have such a good game plan, such good schemes. They're so unselfish. They really play the right way. In total, we got 10 pipes hit by the Cannons alone and 4 broken sticks for the Chaos. That really sums up the majority of my comments on this game. Let's just go over some of the notable performances from this game and wrap it up. Josh Byrne, as usual, the focal point of the Chaos offense. He had 4 points, 2 goals, and 2 assists. Troy Ray had an amazing game at LSM. He picked up pretty much every ground ball, it felt like, and he made some great plays on the clear as well. He had 2 caused turnovers and 4 ground balls. Jared Newman also picked up the slack for Jack Rowlett. He had 1 caused turnover but 4 ground balls. On the Chaos side of things, Asher Knowlton played a fantastic game. He had 2 goals and 4 assists, totaling 6 points. Marcus Holman had 4 goals, no assists. Bryce Young had a great game on defense. Besides that poor penalty he let up in overtime, 4 caused turnovers and 3 ground balls for him. One of the biggest stat lines I've seen from a defender this season. And Ethan Rawl with 1 caused turnover and 5 ground balls. Absolute vacuum. Guys, that is all I have today. That wraps up this game. Hopefully I'll be able to make one more video on one of these week 11 games, but if not, it's all right. I'm really just looking forward to the playoffs at this point. Super excited. They always crank up the intensity, honestly, like 50 to 100% more than in the regular season for the playoffs. So that's of course going to be super, super exciting. If you guys liked the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the PL action. Make sure you check me out on TikTok and Instagram. I'm posting tons of content on there. You won't miss any of the weird little funky plays from the PL at all this season. And that's really all I have today. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a good day.